Hello everybody and welcome to Tiger Tales, the place you'll find stories and fanfictions written and read to you by host me, Tai Tiger. Today we're diving back into the Tiger Tales Marvel and DC fanfiction universe, a place where, in story, the universe of Marvel and the universe of DC have merged into one big ongoing universe, with multiple stories interweaving in it, found on Tiger Tales and the Tiger Tales Lost Story YouTube channels. There you'll find multiple stories in order if you go onto the set playlists, and some of them are prequels, some of them are ongoing, and it's just an absolute blast. But welcome to 48 Hours Before Union Day. This story takes place before the merging of both universes. So let's dive in.
Union Day, a devastating event that collided two universes. We know them as the Marvel Universe and the DC Universe. Now they are merged together, existing as one, with many tales to tell, and as those incredible stories unfold, we must honor the fact that every story has a beginning. So now, it is time to explore the stories of the individuals we all know so well before the biggest event took place and changed their lives forever. So let us explore the 48 hours before Union Day.
48 hours before Union Day. The Green Lantern Corps. Jessica Cruz and Kilowog led a group of the best Green Lanterns to the planet Ezkos, a normal civilized planet which was being attacked by the Manhunters. A large group of them have grouped up by the planet's defense barrier. They're all floating there, and some of them started punching the shield, whilst others extended their rod blasters and started firing upon the shield. Jessica slowed down and aimed her ring and blasted an energy blast at one of the Manhunters. After it got hit, it turned around and started opening fire on Jessica.
Yeah, got your attention now, don't I?
Jessica called out as she made several rocket constructs, and they all fired off and hit several of the Manhunters. A few of the Manhunters left their posts to fend off the Green Lanterns. The squad started fighting the Manhunters with their constructs.
Damn, I hate these things.
Kilowog barked as he wrapped a rock in lantern light and swung it around, smashing it into the first oncoming Manhunter.
Don't we all, Kilowog?
Jessica muttered. She made twin swords and started slicing down some of the Manhunters as they came flying towards them. The war between the Green Lanterns and the Manhunters continued for several hours, until finally Jessica punched the last one in the torso before Kilowog managed to spike it with a wall made of pure spikes, destroying it on impact.
Nicely done. Now guys, head back to Oa. I'm gonna go land on the surface and find out what caused all this commotion.
Jessica ordered the Green Lanterns. All the lanterns nodded and started flying away. Then Kilowog floated up to her.
I'll come with you. Something seems fishy around here.
Kilowog told her. Then they both started going down to the planet.
Maybe it's your breath, Kilowog.
Jessica chuckled slightly. They both entered the planet's atmosphere and landed on the ground. They entered a rather large village. It was almost the same as on Earth. All the aliens were reptilian, though. 3 of them walked up to them, and they were wearing long robes. "Hello, Lanterns. We are to believe you're the ones who dealt with our intruders," their leader asked.
Yes, we are.
Kilowog grunted.
Any idea why they attacked you guys or wanted to enter your planet?
Jessica asked them. "Yes, we think we do. You should follow us," one of the lizard people said, gesturing them to walk along the path. Jessica and Kilowog followed the 3 reptilians, and they walked through the village until they walked up to a house. They entered it, and they found a family pulling a scrawny Ezkilian or reptilian person from a removed floorboard. "This is Sophet, a young boy. We believe he was picked up by the scanners of the Manhunters," one of the leaders explained, a sad sorrow look on his face.
Why did you hide him for?
Kilowog asked. 2 sun cycles ago, Sophet found something that fell from space, and it attached itself to him. We can no longer remove it, the other leader explained. Sophet crept up to the 2 Green Lanterns and showed them his hand, and upon his finger was a red lantern ring.
You were picked by a red lantern ring?
Jessica questioned.
Great. This can't be good.
Kilowog grunted. Suddenly, Kilowog and Jessica's rings started flashing. They both walked out of the house, respectively, and stood on a muddy path. They raised their rings up and activated the communication system.
Jessica, Kilowog, we are done with the League.
Hal's voice said.
We have a situation here. We're kind of going to need some extra hands on this.
Jessica told Hal.
Manhunters are after a little reptile boy who got given a red lantern ring.
Kilowog explained.
Sounds like something we need to attend to.
John muttered.
Alright guys, hang on tight, we'll be there soon.
Hal commanded.
Alright, Hal. See you boys soon.
Kilowog replied.
If things transpire, then please contact us.
John told them.
We will. Jessica and Kilowog out.
Jessica said sternly. Then they lowered their rings, disconnecting the communication, and they walked back into the house, where they found two worried parents and the three leaders all looking rather concerned. Kilowog noticed that the boy had disappeared.
Where is the kid?
Kilowog barked. He got annoyed, and he jumped through the window. The mother cried out. He's been very angry recently. The father sighed.
Makes sense on why he was chosen.
Jessica said to Kilowog.
You're going to make us find the kid now, aren't you?
Kilowog grunted.
Yes. Now everyone stay here. We'll find your son, just in case he comes back. Be warned, he's now dangerous.
Jessica ordered. Then Jessica and Kilowog both bolted out of the house and headed for the massive fields. They took flight and stayed low, gliding through the cornfield. They moved quickly, but kept a keen eye out for Sophet.
Over there.
Kilowog called out. Jessica saw Sophet on his knees. The two Green Lanterns both landed and approached Sophet.
Hey, sweetheart, listen, I know things are a little confusing right now, but your parents are a little scared and a little worried.
Jessica said softly. They are not my parents, Sophet barked.
Who the hell are they then?
Kilowog snapped. We are taken from our families. After birth, if you're born with a tail, you are labeled outclassed, but the tail gene is 1 in 100 chance. Somewhere out there beyond the field, I was born without a tail. My mother was born with one, so I was ripped from her. And I know somewhere I have siblings. Where they are, I don't know, Sophet cried, tears running down his scaly cheek. He started rocking slowly, back and forth.
That is messed up.
Kilowog grunted. Jessica punched him in the shoulder. I must find my parents, and kill those who had us separated, Sophet growled. Then Jessica took one step forward.
Hey, maybe we can take you there. There isn't need for violence.
Jessica said as calm as possible. Sophet turned his head and clocked the two Green Lanterns. Then he waved his hand and a red energy shockwave knocked both Kilowog and Jessica off their feet, the shockwave coming from his hand.
Jessica, enough talk. We might have to fight the kid.
Kilowog snapped as he climbed to his feet.
We still might be able to get through to him.
Jessica grunted as she brushed herself off. Sophet climbed to his feet and aimed his ring at both Green Lanterns. Go away! Leave me alone! Sophet barked. Then he blasted several energy bolts at them. Both lanterns summoned shield constructs, and Kilowog slammed his fist on the ground, sending a Green Lantern shockwave through the ground. Sophet punched the ground, countering his shockwave with his own. Then he roared at Kilowog. His scream became an energy sonic blast, physical in energy, hitting Kilowog. He slid back across the floor. Jessica aimed her ring and blasted Sophet with her own energy blasts. He flicked his hand and deflected the attack. Then he slammed his fist on the ground and jumped up high into the air. The Red Lantern energy wrapped around him and formed into a massive, monstrous, exoskeleton-like armor that stood 30 stories tall.
This thing is huge!
Jessica muttered.
Great. How are we going to deal with this little punk now?
Kilowog grunted.
Think this is where we come in.
John called out. Jessica and Kilowog looked up to see Jon Stewart and Hal Jordan flying down towards them, and they both landed on the ground next to them.
Thanks for joining.
Kilowog muttered.
The Justice League has things handled. If they need us, they know to contact us.
Jon stated.
You guys want some help?
Hal said, nodding his head towards the big monstrous exoskeleton construct, which was blasting an energy blast at the field beside them.
Yeah, sure. We need to secure him. He's just scared.
Jessica told them.
Kilowog, let's distract him. You two, prepare to immobilize him.
Jon ordered. Jon then took flight and Kilowog followed him. The two of them got high enough for Sophet to notice them. The monstrous construct roared at them. They could see Sophet floating in the centre of its chest. Jon made a minigun construct and rained bullets into the exoskeleton. Kilowog made two massive oversized spears and threw both of them at the construct, both of them piercing the exoskeleton in the chest. The exoskeleton made a roaring sound as it swung its arm at Jon. Jon released his construct and glided back, dodging the incoming attack. Then he made several rockets and fired the rockets at the exoskeleton, and they hit it dead on. Kilowog made the same set of rockets and added on to the barrage of attacks. Hal and Jessica took flight and glided above the ground, flying fast past the exoskeleton. Then they stopped behind it. Then Hal made two gigantic harpoon gun motors, and they both fired the harpoons, which stabbed into the exoskeleton's shoulder blades. Each harpoon was attached to a rope construct that the motor started reeling backward, making the exoskeleton lean back, pulling it backwards.
Used to go fishing with the old man. Never caught anything big.
Hal chuckled. Jessica rolled her eyes, then bolted up into the air, so she was now in line with the monster's head. She made a gigantic hammer and swung it over her head and slammed it into the exoskeleton's head, which shattered it. The whole exoskeleton fell onto its backside and shattered into pieces as well. Sophet dropped to the floor. The four lanterns all landed around Sophet. Each one held out their hands, and their lanterns materialized into their grip. They all held out their lantern rings, and they slammed their lantern rings into the lanterns, and the lanterns blasted Sophet with a bright ray of green light. Then the light died down, and Sophet was trapped in a big green solid bubble. He tried to break it, but nothing happened.
We need to seek counsel with the Guardians. We need to know what to do here.
Jon stated. Jessica rolled her eyes and shook her head.
We'll be fine. Don't worry. We can't start a war with the Red Lanterns. But we can talk to the Guardians about this planet. He's angry for a reason. Maybe we can help.
Hal told them. Suddenly, a burst of pure white light exploded in the sky, somewhere in space.
You lot figure out what that is. I'll take the boy back to his family and tell them that he's going off-world for a while. Then I'll catch up.
Kilowog told them. Then he floated in the air, his ring producing a calm green light, which encased Sophet's prison orb and made it float too. Then Kilowog started flying towards the village, taking Sophet back home. Hal, Jordan, and Jessica bolted up and left the planet. They flew up and headed towards the white light. They flew as fast as they could towards the rays. Then they finally got close enough, and the white veil burst open into a gigantic portal, big enough to swallow several planets. It was an enormous circle. Hal's ring started blinking at him. Hal held up the ring and activated the communication.
Hey, Bruce, if you're wondering about a gigantic-sized portal, we're standing right in front of it. And I got this red and gold dude staring right at me.
Hal Jordan told Batman over the communication system as the three lanterns looked through the portal and saw a red and gold armoured figure staring back at them.
Do we say hi?
Jessica muttered.
Sure, why not?
Jon shrugged. Jessica waved at the red and gold armoured figure, who floated there waving back. And there you have it, guys. Another installment to the 48 hours before Union Day. This takes place 2 days before the two universes merge together. And this is going to be an ongoing mini-series. I'll be tackling all different types of characters found in Marvel and DC. We've already tackled Loki, and now this is the Green Lantern one. If there's a specific character you want to see when it comes to 48 Hours for Union Day, let me know, and I'll see what I can do. That being said, make sure you check out the rest of the Tiger Tales Marvel and DC fanfic universe, taking place both on Tiger Tales and Tiger Tales The Lost Stories. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Now, of course, make sure you check out the Tiger Tales Lost Stories channel, the Tiger Tales Game Over channel, the Tiger Tales Mysterious Origins channel. All three of them host fanfictions, and the last one is all unique and original stories, but you'll find lots of different stories focusing on all different fictions as well. Then we have Tiger Tales X, our fifth Tiger Tales channel, which hosts crossovers between two different fictions. For example, I've done one with Ben 10 Alien Force and Doctor Who. That was a lot of fun to do. Make sure you check out the Red Cornish Rangers podcast, Nerds Through Comics, Cosplay Dude 637's podcast, Power Rangers Universe 19, and his YouTube channel, Nostalgia Time. And make sure you check out the Zero to Hero podcast, the Tiger Nexus podcast, and If You Give a Dad a podcast. Huge shout out to the Author's Crown YouTube channel. With that being said, make sure you subscribe to this channel, and I shall see you guys real soon.
That before we can...
Don't touch my Pringles.